Good morning from the forest and all the palapalai, the ferns. Um, I am moving into a new year of life, which is always interesting, and definitely being encouraged to walk the path that I'm going to be walking this last phase, this final phase of life. So I'm just kind of on that path, and it is an interesting journey to change what you're doing um, career-wise midlife, but it also, I know, is what is being asked of me. So, and the work I'm doing really, I get a lot of energy from it. So that is also a great sign in the body. When you get energy from the work you're doing, that's a sign of alignment. And we live in a sea of energy. We are surrounded by a lot of energies. We are an open energy system, so we're all in constant communication with all the energy fields around us. I love being in the forest because I'm surrounded by all the toroidal fields of the trees and the ferns and the grasses and the water, that it's just like fills me up. And I have been doing a lot of work with the human archetype ruler, which is basically a way to find disturbances in the body and then correct them with a shape. I recently did a clearing. I call it a clearing, but really I'm taking the disturbance to a higher vibration, which has a clearing effect. So we all hold so much energy in our bodies. It begins with the lineage, then our personal histories and collective family histories and our experiences, everything we've encountered, everything we've gone through. So, when you start to get, through the midlife phase, it's good to clear those energies out. And so we can vibrate higher, we can take on new energies and be open and be curious and not stuck in our own loops of information, of things unresolved, of feeling like low energy in the body. So there's ways of working with this ruler. And I was just saying, I was working on a client who is very sensitive and came out into this world. She remembers her birth. She remembers many things that have happened to her throughout childhood, and was holding a lot of that energy in the nerves. So I worked on the spine, on the ruler, and a nerve shape that clears the nerves. And I worked for about an hour on her, and she felt very good and relaxed. And then that night had a whole like when you get sick and the fever is actually the cure of the sickness, she had a whole reaction that was super intense, and it hit areas of her body that she's had surgeries on, and where the pain comes out when she's, our Achilles heel, so to speak, where we get pain when we're frustrated or stressed, or so all this pain and all this noise also was like clanging pots and pans, the way she described it. But she stuck with the process and just trusted it, and it cleared. And now she is feeling better than ever. Sleeping better. She would startle awake if her husband moved in the bed. So she would startle easily, which to me tells me that you're holding a lot of energy in the nerves when you're startling. That it's like, oh, you can be scared really easy. So 1 hour of work had a huge, huge effect. And, it just reminds me of how important it is to keep this tool, this energetic tool of our bodies, clear of stuck, heavy information and experiences. There's ways to clear it. It kind of reminded me of doing ayahuasca ceremonies and the purge. I would always be like, why do people do that? That's so weird. And then I did it, and I often hate on something that's actually really good for me. Then I did it, and I was like, oh no, it needs to come out somehow, and it may not be pretty the way it comes out, but on the other side of that is an even better feeling and a greater presence, because what this it does to clear the energy is it centers the body. Then it centers your energy field and strengthens it, so you're not so porous. Because some people are super empathetic. Well, actually you're porous. Your energy field is not strong enough to hold your own energy, and we should be able to hold our own energy. So I think this work, using the energy of shape, and it also works for pets. I can work on the lymphs of the pets, or the lung, or anything that's disturbed in the pet, in the cat. I work on my cat all the time. He's down here. Meow. He likes it. You like it, huh? Yeah, you do like it. Yeah, so there's ways we can keep our vibration up, because the way our vibration determines our experience here in this reality. And this and this reality is, it is a construct. It is a simulation. I got Charles Fort's book, The Book of the Damned, which is really the book of the excluded. As he says, damned means excluded. And it's just all these anomalies that have happened in history. And there's many people discovering and uncovering these anomalies that have happened that make this, it kind of just amplifies the fact that we are living in kind of a simulated reality, and that we are creating our reality in each moment with our thoughts and beliefs and our will and intent. And it's really important to remember that, and also not pay attention to things that are actually pulling us out of our center. It sounds counterintuitive, and like you're a cold person, you're not paying attention to the world, but really we are the field of energy that we live in is being seeded by information. All they have to do is put it out in the media, and then social media gets it, and then it becomes this vibration. And if we tend and turn towards our own inner work, while believing in the peace of the collective, that there is a harmony, that there is a way to vibrate higher for everyone, and keep holding that high vision instead of going into, oh, we got to stop this and we got to stop that. I mean, does anyone ever notice that nothing changes in terms of, like, no matter who's in office, no matter who's, there's like, it just goes on with the wars and this and that. And literally in history, and I recognize patterns, I focus on patterns, because patterns tell you information, and they give you a lot of intuitive insight into what will happen, because everything is cyclical. So, we have to recognize that the pattern has always been to seed the field. Long ago, some of the first written records of war was, one person going over and being like, hey, those guys want to fight you. And then going over to the other guys and say, hey, those guys want to fight you. And then arming them, giving them arms and making money off that. And then they fight each other. It's like a pattern that keeps happening over and over. And it's like we have to recognize the pattern so we can break the pattern. because we don't need to keep keep doing that. We don't need to stay in the same mode. We have to do this, or otherwise this will happen. Yet nothing ever changes. We have to like recognize that outer pattern that's trying to pull us in to this lower vibrational reality, and we don't have to participate in it. And if we don't give our attention to it, it actually has no energy because it doesn't get our emotional energy. So, this is coming from someone who was very involved in struggles and things like that, and then now I'm like, oh, okay, actually there's a whole other way around that. So, go about your day in the best way possible. And if you're looking to vibrate higher, consider this work I do. My website will be listed, and you can check out. I have a 20-minute discovery session. This work I do is part of my lineage. It's very important. It's been passed down, and it's been recreated through the work of Ibrahim Karim and biogeometry. And I learned about it in Egypt and then took the courses, and it just changed my life because I understand now the physics of this reality, and I no longer feel like gaslit all the time because they're, putting something out there that, and then nothing ever changes. So this work can also be done remote because a part of us, we are fractals. A part of us represents the whole. So a photo of you I can use a photo, I shrink it down, and I measure with charts of the body. I can measure all the different disturbances in the body, if there are, and then work to clear them through different sessions. This isn't like, once they're cleared, they should stay clear. And then we go to the other parts, So there's different parts to handle, different big systems, circulatory systems, lymph systems, nervous systems. The nervous system is huge. All of it is huge. It's all important, the heart, we have ways that we emotionally, our hearts get hurt, and then it leads to disease later. And then it's like, why are we having heart problems? Well, this is a vortexing energy. If we're not clearing things and keeping it vibrating high, it's going to affect the whole system. So, and we have a lot of, disturbances to the body constantly. But it is possible to transmute it. And it is possible to vibrate higher.